Nigeria, and welcome to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. Let's start today with our newspapers, and hopefully right after that in a jiffy would be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We have Emeka, Madunagu, journalist, public affairs analyst, joining us via Zoom to talk to us on everything that we have going on from our newspapers and possibly our main conversation for today. Good morning, Emeka, and welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Yeah, good morning. My pleasure.
Thank you so very much, Emeka Madunagu. Now, let's start with the Punch newspaper for today. Electricity Act Amendment Bill. Federal government may sell 11 discos to new investors. And we have just a rider or two riders to that particular story. NERC to enforce discos recapitalization, reprivatization, and amendment bill advances at NAS. Emeka, are we not all repeating the same ugly situation? We had it with 11 discos already. They have not been able to manage it. And now we are transitioning it to yet another investor that might not do so well. Is that a submission from you?
Well, for me, the investors that we've had on ground have not really performed so well. You know, they've not been performing so well. So, and don't forget, first of all, the federal government has 40% in each disco and each genco. You know, so that one, you know, of course, is up for sale, and I'm happy that that one is up for sale. Then talking about amending, of course, you need to look at the law, the enabling law, Electoral Reform Act. You know, you need to look at it to address regulatory gaps. You know, because according to the sponsor of the bill, Senator Abaribe of Abia South, the investors, you know, they risk losing their states through dilution of shares, receivership, or outright reprivatization. If fresh capital is not injected into the sector within 12 months. So what it means is that, you know, it will, the amendment of the act, what it means is that the current investors in the 11 discos will be given time to inject fresh capital, just like recapitalization, just like what is being done in the banking sector, you know, or else they'll lose their licenses. You know, they'll lose their licenses. You know, but the issue is this: in whose interest is this amendment? Because already you have amended the act to give states regulatory oversight of the electricity sector in their own states. So how can you now be, you know, coming again to reverse the decentralization of the sector? I mean, it's not. What they need to do is, first of all, sell their 40%, sell their 40%, then ensure that debt, you know, from subsidy, because you're talking of subsidy, you know, out of a subsidy debt of 2 trillion, you paid only, I think, about 91 million naira. So, and that is just nothing. So, when you are now saying, you know, try to upturn these reforms, you got to look, first of all, at the figures. Look at the fact that, you know, the removal of oil subsidy and the floating of the naira have actually led, you know, have actually pushed the debts so high. Have actually pushed the debt so high. So what do you expect people to do concerning these debts? What do you expect the investors to do, I mean, concerning these debts? If you talk of share dilution, then you are not even looking at growing the sector. We should be growing the sector gradually away from governmental interference. Government should just be a regulator, but it should not be a regulator to kill businesses, to stifle businesses, And then since you've given states the oversight, but you should allow states to also do what is necessary for them to do so that the sector will grow. And then you also have the national grid that we've been talking about, that government should privatize the national grid, but we are still wondering, what the government is really up to. Thank you.
Very true, Emeka, because with lots of players, big stakeholders in the sector, one would wonder if all of this would be possible. The much that we know from open source research, some of the military head of states or past head of states and presidents, some of them are the owners of some of these discos. It's just a big issue that we do not know if the federal government can muster that grace or that gusto to checkmate some of them. But Emeka, I would love you to look into this other matter. 2027 APC kicks as opposition backs a single day polls. Do you think it's ever possible for us to amend our electoral act such that we can possibly have elections, general elections that would involve every other election the same day? Remember, it will save cost, it will equally save lots of other things. Don't you think it's good enough?
The same APC, if you roll back, the same APC made the same call in the past. Now it's in power. To work harder and to be able to reduce what they spend currently on staggered election. Don't forget where are we coming from? Where actually are we coming from? So now the APC is saying that to hold all elections on the same day will put a lot of pressure on INEC. Why is that their problem? Why is that their problem? I know in 2003 that the court rejected it, yes, but sincerely speaking, I think we don't need all these staggered elections. If we can conduct elections in one day, if we have electronic voting, that will also help. You have electronic voting. I mean, a country like the United States, they hold the elections in one day. So why can't we? Why can't we hold the elections in one day? People can vote, people can actually participate in electronic voting, So it is important for us to think about it. We must reduce the cost of elections. We must reduce the cost of elections. If we want to actually have, because of the bandwagon effect, you saw how in Lagos, for instance, during 2023 elections, when P2B won in Lagos, you saw how by the following Saturday, when the governorship held, you saw how talks, the same APC rolled out talks, and they were telling people, no, you're Igbo, don't vote. You look too fine to come and vote. That's what they told one guy who came in from abroad to come and vote. You look too fine. You look too smooth to be bothering yourself about voting. You understand? It happened in Lagos. It's so-called center of excellence. So what are we talking about? We cannot continue deceiving ourselves. Let's do these elections once. Let's introduce electronic voting. The world has gone very far in terms of technology. If we invest in technology, we'll reduce the manpower, we'll reduce the manual input. You know, we used to have a manual voter register.
Yes.
But now we moved away from that. You know, I mean, we used to have manual voting in voter register. I mean, we moved away from that. We now have smart card readers. You know, we have beavers, we have IREF. If we can upscale all those things, it will help us better. You know, it will help us better. You know, we don't need to just continue like that, continue that way. It will not help us. Thank you.
All right, Emeka, let's take a look at the Daily Trust newspaper. 2027 ANPP bloc insists on VP slot. Alimodu Sharif, the former governor of Borno State, was a guest on national television, and he said a lot, which I would love to believe didn't go well with lots of people. He said he brought Kashim Shettima to power. He was just an ordinary banker who wasn't into politics and knew nothing about politics. When he was asked about the performance level of his godson, political godson, he said that it is not in his place to make that call. But with the ANPP bloc insisting on VP slot, don't you think that all is not well with the love Kashim Shettima used to have?
Well, we cannot gauge Kashim Shettima's acceptance by the comment, the public comments of his estranged godfather. What we need to ask Alimodu Sharif is that all the people he put into politics, where are they today? How many of them have actually, you know, made a successful impact, you know, in terms of, I mean, politics or national development, you know, or in any field of worthy endeavor? How many of them? So it's not about saying that the ANPP bloc should produce the vice president. They went into a coalition in 2013, but they are the ones now saying that that Nigeria doesn't need a coalition. You know, they still one thing about the APC is that, you know, they love to appropriate and reprobate. You know, they love to eat their cake and hold on to it, but it doesn't work. You know, because they know that that Nigerians are really not impressed by what they have done so far in, you know, in government since 2023. So it's the way it is.
But yes, but do you think there is a rift between the president and his vice, just like we had for Olusegun Obasanjo and Atiku Abubakar?
No,
and that might, yes.
You know, Tinubu is his way. When he was governor, he had 3 deputy governors. So what he's looking at now is that the pilot may not support him. So he's looking towards, well, maybe getting a Christian deputy, you know, not necessarily from the far north, maybe from the north central, you know, but not that north central
has produced, yes, chairmanship. Yeah.
So maybe going to the northeast, you know, and discarding the Muslim ticket. Because of course it will work this time in 2027, you know. So they are looking at that. I think, from my observation, that they may be looking at, you know, the minorities, you know, the non-Muslim minorities in the north, and then the IDP camps, you know, because those in the IDP camps don't have to vote in their particular areas of residence, you know. So if
I still there, Emeka.
in that way, you know, determining things in that way is looking at discarding Shettima, because actually, if you even look at it, I mean, there isn't. Maybe he feels that Shettima doesn't still hold that electoral value anymore. in Borno State. So that's why I was thinking of, but that's Tinubu's way, at least as governor, we saw what he did. So,
All right, Emeka, yes. All right, Emeka, finally, before I let you off on this particular segment, just before we resume the next one, as a journalist, I'd love you to maybe share your experience, if really it is what we have right now from the Daily Trust newspaper. Attacks on journalists. Emeka, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, beautiful. Attacks on journalists rising under current administration, and that's a report coming from the Daily Trust newspaper. I do not know if compared to other administrations before the beginning of the Fourth Republic, if we've had it this bad, or is this just an exaggeration? Because the much I know, the people have had the opportunity of airing their minds and speaking their truth, their 2 cents. But I do not know. Do you really think there's still an attack on journalists doing their job?
Of course, there are attacks, yes. There are attacks by overzealous security agents. The Nigerian police, has weaponized the Cybercrime Act, and turned it to a major assignment. They just feel that, they can, of course, use that act to justify their lawlessness, their brutality against journalists and other Nigerians, and of course, that's why the media rights agenda had to come out to warn that this will not augur well for this administration. Because if you, keep attacking journalists, it will not turn out fine. Thank you.
All right, I think we'll have to leave it for now. And just to let you know, Emeka will be here to take us on our main conversation, and that is when we return. APC opposition clash over proposed the same day election in 2027. I know we've talked about that, but let's go into digging deep on that particular matter. It's still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.